What is going on, Canes fans? We are back for another post-game Canes talk here on Mark Rogers TV. This was a tough one, guys. This was a this was one that was in our grasp against a team that we've had, I'd like to say, kind of very little success against lately, and even when we did have success against them, it's been competitive games. Unfortunately, today my co-host Jordan is not able to make it. He's got some family stuff going on, but I've got a great guest here. I got Max Popeil of Pope's Pod. He's a student at the University of Miami, and he's going to be chiming in today, give us in his takes about the game. What do you think, Max?
Start off slow on offense, and that ultimately, if you start well on offense, you maybe win that game. Defensively, on the other hand, the second half they played better. But at the same time, giving up 45 points to that horrendous offensive line, FSU beat them last week. Not a good look for Manny Diaz and the Hurricanes. I still think Tyler Van Dyke has a lot to prove. I do think he's a very good quarterback. He's very young, though. So
he showed some balls, you know? Honestly, that's the way I saw it. He showed some courage today. He showed some fight. And it's something that, honestly, we haven't seen for a little while, because when we get down, we often don't show a lot of fight after that. Yeah. So my question to you, and you bring it up, and I'm glad you brought it up already, is the slow start. What do you think it was today? Was it play calling? Was it a young quarterback? What do you think was that slow start for us?
I think we're not prepared. It's every week. Once you start slow every single week and you don't show anything after the 6 games that we've already had, every game that we've had offensively has been a slow start. So in that case, it's either a Rhett Lashlee thing, or you're just not getting prepared. You're not doing anything in the film room to show that you can do anything better to improve yourself offensively. And the fact is, I mean, I have no problem with Van Dyke, the way that he played in the second half. I also have no problem with the play calling. I actually thought the play calling was better in the second half. I do think that they improved in the second half. I think defensively, on the other hand, with roughing the kicker penalty, that hurt us. And there were too many penalties. That's the thing. When you have that many penalties, you're not going to win those types of games.
Do you recall how many yards we had on offense there going into halftime?
80.
I mean, how? Like with the playmakers we have, how do you not find ways to get these guys into space? And it's not like they have to knock off 50, 60-yard plays in space. I'm talking about 7, 8 yards, 13 yards, 12 yards. I mean, what the hell, dude? Like, what the hell? And then to have to put it on the shoulders of our young quarterback late in the game on the road, it's not a recipe for success, you know? Too many of the same problems over and over and over again. Yes, this team showed some fight. Yes, they showed some courage today, but UNC practically wanted to hand us that game. There was times that they could have easily walked away with a win, and they just kept letting us in it, What do you think was the as far as the second half for us, finding our rhythm, what do you think helped us in that aspect?
Jalen Knight. He's your best player. He's your best offensive player. And also, you got to give Rambo the ball more. When you don't give him the ball, it makes no sense. The fact is, when Jalen Knight got into space, you got 20 yards every play. Most of the time, you got 20 yards. And when Rambo didn't get the ball until the second half, he only had 1 catch until the third quarter. What?
Mind-blowing.
I don't understand the logic between our offensive coordinator and the way that Manny game planned these games. Don't understand it. The amount of talent that you have, you should be winning these games. And this North Carolina team is not good. It's not as good as they are not as good as they were a year ago. So the fact is, and they lost to that FSU team last week. Yep. I don't know what else to say on this. It's horrible. the way that our coaching has been in the past 6-7 games. And what are we now? 0-7 against Power 5 teams in the past 7 games?
Yeah. Unreal. And we have the talent advantage in 90% of them. That's what really, really hurts. I got a question for here. We're talking about playmakers. We're talking about getting them in space. What do we need to do to get Brashard Smith involved more? Where are we lacking in getting him involved in the game plan more? Because he's electric if we can get him in space.
Surprised we never did the Wildcat for him or anything like that. I mean, he was a quarterback, right, in high school?
I think he played some snaps at quarterback, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, give him a chance to do the Wildcat. I mean, we've been successful in the Wildcat in the past with Mark Richt. What makes you not do the Wildcat? Especially in a game where it's very high scoring. I mean, changing your formations and stuff would be a good change. Like giving Van Dyke a little bit of a break passing the ball. I think a Wildcat would be successful, especially when this defense, we were running the ball against them. This defense wasn't very good. So I would say Van Dyke, though, in the first half, those 2 interceptions, one of them weren't, I mean, it wasn't a good throw. The second one was right in his hands. I forgot what the first one was, though. But yeah, the way that we lost this game was giving up 45 points. That's it. You scored 42 points. So your offense was fine. Defensively, on the other hand, based on all the penalties that you had, you're not winning this game. You didn't deserve to win the game. As much as I wanted to win this game, I was really pissed off that we got picked off at the end of that game. But you didn't deserve to win this game. You didn't.
That's where I feel with it, too, is that even though the score will make it appear as if we were really in it for 4 quarters, we really weren't. This was a comeback that was mostly built on the mistakes that UNC made. And I'll tell you what, Max, their second half play calling was strange as hell. Did you notice that? I mean, just strange as hell.
You're running the ball with Sam Howell on 3rd down when you can just ice the game there?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think Mac Brown was questioning the call too. I think he came over to the coach and questioned it at the end of the game. But yeah, there were too many questionable calls from North Carolina. I think they could have scored 60 on us, really.
Yeah.
I also think that Coastal Carolina offensive line wasn't very good. You got to the quarterback, but some of the plays, these guys were just running into space. Their wide receiver, what was his name again? Their top wide receiver, Downs. Yeah, Downs. How many catches did he have in the first? He had 9 catches in the first half. 10 catches. Yeah. Who's the corner that's on him? Is it Stevenson that's on him, or is it Corey Couch? Because your top corner is Stevenson, and I did not see him on him at all.
They did a good job of getting Downs into mismatches earlier in the first half. I'm not sure what their issue was with him in the second half, but once again, that goes back to my talk about the weird play calling. That UNC had 2 or 3 golden drives that they could have absolutely put this game away. They could have put us pretty much in a position to where we would have had to have looked to have scored 3 times and get 3 stops with a young quarterback on the road. It's just not going to happen. So, we've talked about the offense here. What did you see from that defense in the first half? What really irked you about the defense? Because there's multiple things I saw that really irked me.
We had a total of 10 missed tackles in the first half, I believe, or 15. It was something absurd. And we had 1 missed tackle on Sam Howell, which we could have just stopped him. They would have kicked the field goal. It would have been a 7-point game. We would have gotten the ball back then. But then you hit him with your shoulder and he doesn't go down. And then you see another guy hit him with your shoulder as well. And he doesn't go down. And then he just walks into the end zone. I don't understand the reasoning behind our missed tackles. I don't understand the reasoning behind why we are tackling the way we are. We're the worst tackling team in the country. It's so weird to me. You have a defensive coordinator as your head coach, and you can't tackle.
Supposed to be an amazing defensive coordinator. Supposed to be one of the best is why he's got a head coaching opportunity. You normally don't get a head coaching opportunity if you don't do a good job at the coordinator position you held before. So to see these same mistakes week after week after week, yes, it's frustrating to talk about, but we have to talk about it because it's real. It's the reality still. I mean, that James Williams, that one where he bounced off a Hal, where he just dropped his shoulder, no form on his technique at all, no wrap up, not even an attempt to wrap up at all. That really, really made me want to pull my hair or pull my hair out of my head, dude, because James Williams is one of those young guys that I've been kind of leaning on and depending on with this whole movement of get the young guys more snaps, get the young guys more snaps. And while he is definitely proven he can get some snaps, we still see some of them. We still see the reason of why maybe he didn't get snaps early on. You simply cannot allow a play like that to happen ever.
But then you have Gervin Hall who hits a player, one of your own players. So I don't know what the answer is.
I don't. The youth obviously has more upside. So I think what we have to do is we have to just understand that we need to go through the bumps and bruises. Let's just get them out of the way now. Get these guys snaps. Gervin Hall is not going to help us win football games. I don't give a damn what Manny Diaz says. No. So where do you go on defense from here then? We saw a little bit of, Keontra Smith back at linebacker. Where do we go on defense? Do we just continue to give the young guys more snaps here and get the bumps and bruises out of the way? Or do you think Manny Diaz is going to continually lean on the older guys in big moments?
I don't think Manny Diaz is going to make a change. What makes you think that he's going to make a change after the 6 games?
None.
Also, is there a formation where you can not have a linebacker on the field?
Yeah, I see it.
Why don't we have just all of your freshman safeties just go onto the field? No linebackers, no Corey Flagg, none of them. They are not fast enough. They are not the answer on our defense. Just put in the young guys at this point. There's no point in having Gervin Hall, Amari Carter, and why isn't Frierson in the game? Frierson was one of our best defenders last year. It makes no sense.
The Frierson thing is really confusing to me because what he does at striker is he offers versatility. Amari Carter is very limited in what he does and what he's good at. Yeah. So what has Gilbert Frierson not shown in practice? You know what I'm saying? Like what has he shown or not shown that makes Amari Carter the clear guy to get the snaps above him? I just don't get it. Seniority.
This is the same thing like the Greg Russo situation in 2019 when he didn't even play against Florida. And then when he comes in, he has how many sacks? He had 17, 18 sacks.
Yeah.
Why did he not play against Florida in 2019? So, and also Zach McLeod, that's a screwed up experiment. Just get him off the field. I understand that he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but you have younger guys that they need to get on the field when you have all these 5-6 year players that are going nowhere. A lot of these guys are not going to the NFL. Let's face it. A lot of these guys are not going to be in the NFL. So why not put in these young guys and improve, make them improve, let them show you what they had besides in practice. You're 2-4. There's no point. It's over. It's over. The experiment's over.
I feel like the seniority thing, though, is something that he'll lean on because he's a bad coach. Bad coaches don't all of a sudden figure things out magically. They don't all of a sudden get better. They don't learn week by week. I'm worried that he's just going to continually lean on it and can keep making excuses. I can't wait to hear what the excuses are in this post-game one today. I can't wait to hear. Anybody in the chat, if you guys end up hearing the post-game stuff, by all means, post some stuff in the chat here so we can see it because I would love to hear the excuses. I would absolutely love to hear it. Max, the first half, of course, a little shaky. What did you think about our offensive line in the second half?
They were good. I had no problem with the offensive line. There was one sack that they had towards the end of the game that was questionable. But other than that, they played well. I'll be honest. I saw improvement. But this defense, honestly, is not one of the best defenses in the ACC. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about the offensive line compared to next week when you play against NC State. NC State's defense is one of the best in the ACC. They beat a Clemson team, which they have no offense, but they do have a good defense and they do have a good offense. So we'll see what happens next week. But they did play well this game, and Tyler Van Dyke did escape a bunch of sacks, and there were some questionable things where he didn't throw it away where he could have. So that's where I was questioning Tyler Van Dyke's decision making. But overall, they played well.
What did you think about his ability to run? He actually showed me a little more moxie on his feet than I thought he had.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they don't do the read option on him. I feel like they should.
Yeah.
I think they need to. They got to figure out a game plan more for Van Dyke. I know how many times did he throw the ball today? Like 45 times?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I understand Jalen Knight is going to be your workhorse if Cameron Harris is out. You got to run him more, I think, also. I understand that Franklin and Cody Brown can still like mix in between. But I think these two guys need to be running the ball a lot more. Or putting Brashard Smith. Let him run too. He's electric when he runs. So this game, I was questioning a lot of the decisions that North Carolina made because they could have just blown us apart in the second half. But this was brutal. It was brutal.
It's always tough to lose like that when I like to call it false hope. You know, like you think that something good's about to happen, you just get the rug snatched out from underneath you. I got another player that I'm curious to get your take on here. Is it time that we just, as Canes fans, truly, truly understand that the Will Mallory experiment just isn't going to get us anywhere?
Yes. I don't know why he's on the field. I don't. He did make one catch in the game. I think Arroyo, though, the problem with Arroyo is the reason why he's not in the game more is because of the blocking, I think. I think that's why Mallory's in the game more. But if Arroyo gets more reps blocking, I think he can overtake Mallory at the position. I don't know if that's a seniority thing. I understand that Manny Diaz brings in more seniors to play in these games, but Arroyo still has a lot to learn. So I don't blame them for playing Mallory more than other than the receivers, because these receivers, a lot of them have not played, which I've been surprised by. I don't think Harley is that good. I understand he had a couple good catches today, but when you have Restrepo, who did not get the ball as much as he should have either. So I don't know where he goes from here.
There's a post here in the chat that I want to bring up to you here, and I want to get your take on it. Unfortunately, these close wins will keep Manny around. You don't believe that?
No, not at all. I think if they won today, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Nope.
Writing's on the wall.
Writing's on the wall.
Okay. And in your prediction,
I'm sorry. You think the Board of Trustees care?
No.
Do you think they care about the win or the loss today? No. No.
It's the bigger picture they're looking at.
Yes. That's what I think.
So is there any chance that we see Manny Diaz not be our head coach for any games this season, or is he going to ride it out as our head coach no matter how bad he does?
Next week we play NC State. The following week we play Pitt.
I believe so.
After those two games, gone.
You think Manny Diaz will be fired?
Yes.
Okay.
I told you guys before in the Scoop show that I don't think he gets fired today, and I do not think he's going to. But in these next two games where you have NC State at home, which I don't think there's going to be any fans, even if it's a 7:30 game, there's a million things to do in Miami. I don't blame you if you don't go. The Pitt game, though, based on Kenny Pickett, how are you going to stop Kenny Pickett? That's what I'm interested to see. So I don't think Manny's going to last. I think these next 2 to 3 weeks he will be gone. But today, no.
You're a student at the University of Miami. What's the buzz like among the students there? I'm kind of curious to get your take on what you hear from your peers there.
I'll be honest, the peers are not going to show up if you're not winning games and if you're not going to perform at a high level. And I was in a group chat. I am in a group chat, and they said, why is it really bad right now? Why can't we get over the hump? Why can't we improve? And they want to see us do well. The students want the Hurricanes to do well. But the fact is, if they're not going to do well, there's other things to do in Miami. So the fact is, the Hurricanes did okay today, even when they had 42 points, and defensively they played well in the second half. And some of these kids watched the game today, but a lot of these kids did not watch the game today at all. So
that's a shame.
Yep. I think the writing's on the wall, and I think that a lot of the students know what's going to happen when they go to these games. So there's other things to do.
So does Blake James lose his job with Manny Diaz, or does Blake James maintain or retain his job as the AD through the next couple of years?
Depends on the board of trustees, and it also depends on what happens with Julio Frank. I do not think Julio Frank is staying either. He was supposed to be gone 2 years ago, and then COVID happened. So let's wait and see what happens until November, middle November. I do think Blake James' seat is getting hot. I think it is hot. But the fact is, you don't know what the board of trustees are thinking. If you don't know what they're thinking, how are you going to predict if he's going to be gone?
Very true. Very true. We actually have a question for you here, Max, in the chat. They're asking, do you think that Miami will have a chance to land Mario Cristobal eventually? What do you think?
Yes. I do, because I don't think it's about the money. If Mario Cristobal wants to come, he will come. He wanted to come 2-3 years ago, but it won't be with Blake James. If Blake James is here, he's not going to come. I do think, though, Mario Cristobal is still a young head coach. So there will be things that we will make mistakes on along the way. But I still think he has a really high upside to be one of the better coaches in college football. Especially even when that was a close game against Cal yesterday, and they did lose to a Stanford team, but they do get a lot of talent, and he's still a very young coach. So if he wants to come, he's going to come, but it will not be with Blake James as the athletic director.
A lot of people bring up the name Alonzo Highsmith. What kind of capacity would you like to see him come to Miami at if he did come to Miami?
I don't think he should be the AD. I think he should be the football ops. I think he should be a part of the football stuff, the recruiting, all that other stuff. I don't think he should be the athletic director. The reason why is because he doesn't have expertise in the basketball, baseball, and all these other sports that they have. I do think, though, that he should only be a part of the football, and that's it. The basketball and baseball and all those other sports, the athletic director should be behind, and I don't think Alonzo Highsmith wants to be a part of those other sports.
And see, I'm gonna differ with you on some of this here. I'm gonna say here that I don't believe Mario Cristobal is gonna come to Miami no matter what. That's just my personal feelings. I don't think that he's gonna leave behind the Nike machine at Oregon to come and have to rebuild a Miami program. This is an ugly job right now. While there's a lot of talent there in our backyard, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talent there. You don't necessarily have to coach at Miami to get that talent anymore. That talent can be got at other schools.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't see, me personally, I don't see what the big appeal is. Do you think that he's truly willing to put his career on the line? Because what happens if he comes to Miami and he fails? Do you think that he is young enough to get another opportunity right away elsewhere? Or do you think he'd have to go back and earn his stripes again?
The only thing I'll say about Mario Cristobal is that if he does come, you're going to give him 5 to 6 years. You're not giving him 3 years like what you did to Manny Diaz, because this is a rebuilding process. You are at ground zero right now. This is worse. I don't want to say this is worse than Al Golden, but it could be based on the amount of coaching that we have had in the past. So, yeah, of course you want to win now, but the fact is, if he wants to come, he will.
We got another question for you here, Max. So we'll push Cristobal to the side here.
Yes.
What are your other head coaching, your realistic head coaching goals that you'd like to see Miami reach for if we do or when we do fire Manny Diaz?
Whatever the Coastal Carolinas coach name is, I forgot what his name was. I think he should be one of the options that we should go after. What Scoop said earlier, in the other podcast, I think they should go after the defensive line coach from Georgia. I also think that they should go after Mark Stoops. And I know that's a long shot, but I think if Mark Stoops would want to come, I think they would give it to him. I understand Kentucky is good, but they're not the highest football school, I would say. And the Baylor coach is a realistic option as well. I just saw that in the chat. I would say the Baylor coach and their athletic director is definitely one of the options that you can go after.
What do you think about Herman? He's a name that I see get floated around, and I'm starting to see his name get floated around more the last week or so.
Where is he right now?
I don't know. Where is he right now?
Yeah, that's my thing. If he's not coaching right now, why would you go after him?
Okay, so you think his time is already kind of past him in that aspect? That he's already reached his highest heights as a coach?
I mean, he was at Texas for how many years? And
Yeah.
they fired him?
Yeah.
I don't see how you should go after him, to be honest with you. I understand he's a good offensive mind. He's obviously a better offensive coach than Rhett Lashley, but I don't think that's the right option.
I see the name Luke Fickell get floated around, but he's just not realistic in my opinion. It's just not realistic.
Luke Fickell is a Ohio State alum. If that Ohio State job opens up tomorrow, he's going there. He's not staying at Cincinnati. He will be there until that job is opening up. He was a grad assistant at Ohio State. Then he moved to Cincinnati. He was the head coach at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is now – they're going to be number 2 in the country because Iowa lost today. There's no point in him going to Miami. It's not happening. Not happening.
What do you think about Hugh Freeze?
Hugh Freeze has a lot of different – he had a lot of troubles in the past. I don't think that's the smartest idea. It's the same thing with Urban Meyer when he was coaching. They've had a lot of different scandals after the fact. I don't think that that's the right choice. I do think he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think Miami will take a chance on a Hugh Freeze.
Realistically, how much money do you think that we'll be spending on a yearly basis for this next head coaching hire? And put into mind is making this hire to try to be competitive.
We've been giving $3 million a year. You got to get $5 to $6 million a year. And if they don't want to do it, they will never be back to 10 wins. They won't get 10 wins. They'll be 8-4, 9-3. The thing is, we are not in a position. Apparently, we are not in a position to pay a higher level head coach, which I think is very bizarre when you have a private school that everybody pays $70K a year. You also have a crap ton of donations every single year for the sports programs. I just don't think that's right. I think they're just making excuses. But I do think the board of trustees are divided on what's going to happen. So until the board of trustees makes a decision, it's not gonna look good.
I believe wholeheartedly that if Blake James is still around and he's in charge of this next hire, he will go the cheap route again. He will go the inexperienced route, and he will be that guy that settles on 8-9 wins and almost tries to brag about it, almost tries to boast like that's acceptable at the University of Miami. Blake James has no idea what it means to win. He has absolutely no clue what real winning on the football field is, especially at the FBS level and the Power 5 level. So if we do this whole inexperienced head coaching thing again, and we're on another 2-3 year experiment and that fails, I mean, how much further behind are we, dude? Like, how much more opportunities do we need to give the Ohio States and the Clemsons and the Bamas to come steal our players? You know, like, I guess my question to you is if we're going to spend that kind of money to be competitive, is there an absolute ideal head coach for that money frame, or is it about damn time that we do a real coaching search? We cast a wide net and we interview as many guys as we can.
That's the only reason why you fire Manny Diaz right now. You do what a USC did, where they fired, what was his name? They fired
Helton?
Clay Helton. They fired Clay Helton. And now they're going after one of these higher level guys. And the fan base had enough of him 2-3 years ago. But I don't think that's the case for Miami. If the fan base had enough of Manny, and if the attendance rates goes down, the season ticket holders go down, I don't think Blake is going to last. So the only way that Miami can get back to getting at least 9 wins, you got to get Blake James out of here. The only home run hire that he had since he's been here for the past 9 years was that Mark Richt hire, but he was like a 2-year experiment, and then he got sick, and that's why he left. And he left money on the table, and you didn't take advantage of it. So
that's one thing. Mark Richt left us in a very good spot in terms of how normally a team would have to try to adjust after losing a head coach, especially a big name head coach. He really made it easy for Manny Diaz to actually have more success right away, but yet Manny Diaz still can't get it done. I mean, no matter what we saw today, guys, I don't care that, yes, actually, I can't say that I don't care that we fought, because that would be just wrong. I do care that we fought. I do care that these guys put it on the line, but I have absolutely no trust that Manny Diaz will win these types of games for us, no matter how close they are or how competitive they are in the long run. I hate to say it, I do, but the way this game ended was unfortunately kind of how I was figuring it was going to end. I was almost waiting to see, how are we going to lose this game? How are we going to screw it up? Did you have that feeling?
I did not. I was just hoping. I was really hoping for something. I'm with 2 of my friends at UCF, and we're all like big Canes fans, and we were like standing on our feet just waiting. And when that pick happened, I was not in the mood to talk to anybody. But I do like that the kids fought hard. I do think that these kids still want to play hard. It's just, the fact is, when you have these types of coaches that don't make adjustments or anything like that, it's kind of hard to see how we're going to be successful now and in the future as well.
Yep. Chugmo Beer, thank you for the $5 donation. It says, North, ever since Lashley has been here, the offense starts slow, no matter who the QB is, King or TVD. So is it play calling or players? I say coaching. What do you say, Max?
I would say the players have to execute, but also I think the play calling has been an issue in the past. But I don't think today's play calling was that bad. I'll just be honest with you here. I do not think it was that bad. They scored 42 points. You should be winning games with 42 points. So I'm not going to put the blame on Rhett Lashley there.
Had somebody told me before this game started that Miami was going to score 42 points on the road with TVD, I would have said, wow, we have a good chance of winning that game. But yet, I still never felt comfortable, dude. I truly never felt comfortable. and I haven't while Manny Diaz has been our head coach, and I don't know if I ever will. And I mean, how much better can we rightfully expect him to be next week as our head coach? I mean, honestly, brass tacks, what does Manny Diaz, or what has he shown you in his past that tells us he can learn from these mistakes and grow? Is there anything we can look forward to?
I'm just looking forward to seeing the young guys play. That's it. That's all I'm looking forward to. I do care if we win or lose. I would have loved to win today, but that wasn't the result. I would love to win next week. I still think the writing's on the wall regardless. I don't think that there's any doubt that people think that Manny's going to turn it around. I still think that all these fans want to see the Hurricanes win games, even with Manny Diaz as your coach. I understand that Manny Diaz is not the answer. That does not mean that you want the Canes to lose. Because, just to be honest with you, the writing has been on the wall since the first game against Alabama with that slow start. And last year was just not – Derek King really put the team on his back last year with a couple of the games where you could have lost. But you don't have Derek King this year. You have Tyler Van Dyke as your quarterback, and you have Jake Garcia. When he's healthy, he will get an opportunity to play. That's it. Derek King is not playing anymore. It's over. He's not – if he comes back next year, Manny Diaz should not be the coach. He should not be. You don't bring back a quarterback for his seventh year when you have young guys that you can develop and you could make them into a really good quarterback. There's no point in bringing Derek King.
I feel like it just shows our lack of looking into the future. It almost seems as if Manny Diaz is trying to use the seventh year as something to be excited about, that we have some hope in the future. And all I see it is running back the same old crap over and over and over again. So if we're going to make this move, and you're saying that Diaz gets fired in 2-3 weeks, let's just say that this happens hypothetically. Who do you want to see as the interim head coach for Miami?
Jess Simpson. I think he should be the coach. He was a head coach in high school, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was an incredible head coach in Georgia high school football.
I think he should get an opportunity. That would be an awesome thing for him, just to show what he can do. He's not going to be the head coach in the future. But for him, it would be a good opportunity to see what we can do with him. And also that will light a fire under the players and all these other guys. Also, I do want to bring up though, who are recruiters again? We talked about this earlier. It was TBD, not TBD.
We got Cooney. DVD does a lot of recruiting for us for the secondaries. Yeah.
And so these guys, apparently there was a rumor that they came off of the meeting after the Virginia game. I also think there is a falling out between the recruiting and Miami right now, which can hurt them in the future as well. So that's why I don't think Manny's going to last here.
What's going to be the end game for Ed Reed here? How long is he going to sit by and just watch this? And how long is he going to want to be a part of this? Because Ed Reed's a perfectionist. Ed Reed demands perfection, and he displays it in his own day-to-day life, and he displayed it when he was on the football field. How long is he going to want to be willing to be part of something like this?
To me, Ed Reed is there for the money. For now, at least, he's there for the money. He's not able to coach. So why is he there? Is he there for recruiting? We still don't know what he's there for. Do you know what he's there for?
A kind of a figurehead, it seems to be almost, just a name, an image.
Yeah, but none of these kids care about a name and an image anymore. They're there to try to get to the next level. They're there to try to go to the NFL. That's it. They're not there just because it's the Miami Hurricanes anymore. That was 20, 30 years ago. So what can you do to change and stay with the modern day college football? Because you see Nick Saban doing it. You see Lane Kiffin doing it now. What makes you think that people are going to want to come because of the Miami Hurricanes after 20, 30 years ago winning national championships? You can't even win the ACC. You can't win the Coastal.
The ACC right now is the worst conference in Power 5 football, and we're struggling to just survive and keep our head above water in it. That's insane. You look at the blue chip player ratio. You look at the amount of 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever else, the high ranked 3 stars that you need to be competitive and win. We have got all of the talent that we need to win according to those measurements, but yet it doesn't matter because no development takes place. When you have poor coaching and no development, it does not matter how well you recruit. You will fail those recruits every damn time. And I hate it because I hate to think that there are truly players out there that we actually ruin their careers, Max. I hate to think that by them coming to Miami, their football careers were cut short due to simply making that choice. And I feel that honestly, wholeheartedly, in a bad way. I really do. Do you feel that? Like, do you feel we've cut players short?
I do. I think Jalen Knight is your best player, and he's been performing well. What makes you think he's not leaving next year? He's running back. Jalen Knight is a running back. He's one of the better running backs, I would say, in the ACC when he's healthy. But when you don't develop, I think he's going to leave. Brevin Jordan said it 3-4 weeks ago. He said that these guys don't develop, and he didn't think that it was necessary to come back for a 4th year when he could have been one of the top tight ends in the country this year. So he was not confident. I think a lot of these players are not confident either right now. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I think. And Rambo, yeah, somebody just put in the comment they feel bad for Rambo. Rambo has been proving something. He's not coming back next year. Not happening.
No.
He's going to the draft.
Yep.
So somebody's got to step up. Mike Harley's not going to be here next year. So I think Restrepo, Brinson, we have a bunch of other good receivers that I think will be good next year. But when you can't develop, they might not reach their highest potential. And that's good. That's what's going to hurt us.
They're young and there's clear upside, but will we ever see consistency? That's something that in the Manny Diaz era on defense and offense, there has been absolutely zero consistency. And another word is accountability. Another word is discipline. So like I was mentioning earlier, when you have these kind of traits embedded into a coaching staff and embedded into a team, there is no week-to-week improvement that's going to be so big and so miraculous it's going to change everything. These are philosophies that are embedded in the toppest levels of our coaching staff. It's a problem, dude. Major.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping for these younger guys to get in. I'm hoping just to see what they can do right now. I don't think these 5-6 year players should be playing, but that's just my opinion. I think they should just go into the transfer portal. But it's not going to happen when you have Manny Diaz as your head coach, and that's been playing seniors. So it happened last year too. So
we got a question here. It says, "Hey Max and North, when the new head coach comes, will they put the funds for a good assistant head?" Basically, what he's saying is, will we put the money up for a good assistant staff for that head coach? Will we spend that money it takes?
I don't know. Depending on your athletic director and what the board of trustees want to do. That's the only answer I could give you.
So we know that this game was tough. We know that this UNC battle was something that we were hoping to kind of get past. We wanted to win a tough game versus these guys to show that we could actually do it. We didn't do it. A lot of our same fears are still here. Do you believe that we are going to struggle a lot next week? Or do you think it's good? I mean, is it going to be the same thing? Slow start and then desperately trying to get back in it late in the game?
I think we might have a chance to win the game just because it's a home game. And also, NC State's playing a Boston College team tonight, which might have an impact on what happens next week. So we can wait and see on what happens in that game tonight. I think it's going to be closer than expected, but I don't know if we win the game. That's same thing goes to the rest of these teams, except for Duke, because Duke looks horrible. But the rest of these ACC games are not going to be easy, especially Pitt.
Oh, yeah. No way in hell. Kenny Pickett's going to have a field day with our secondary, dude.
He's a Heisman candidate. I think he should be a Heisman candidate. He's been playing out of his mind.
So Max, before we get off of here today and end our post-game stuff, how many wins is this Miami Hurricanes team going to get this year? I'm giving you the tough question here. How many wins will we see?
A lot of people might hate me for this. We're not making a bowl game.
Not making a bowl game.
Not making a bowl game. Not happening.
Wow. I mean, that's the lowest I will ever have seen University of Miami. So Diaz's tenure being one where he lost to FIU, lost to Louisiana Tech, and then ends up not making a bowl game in what could be his final year. This is the worst era of Miami Hurricanes football, and there's absolutely no doubt about it. I hate being like that, guys. I hate ending a show like that. But unfortunately, this is the state of Miami Hurricanes football. Until we see otherwise, I'm not going to change my opinion on it. I'm not just going to magically assume everything's going to get better. We want to thank you guys for joining us, man. We had about 130 you guys joining us for the show today. Like I said, unfortunately, my normal co-host, Jordan, he wasn't able to make it. He had some family stuff, but Max stepped in. He's a student at the University of Miami. Max, where can the good people find you at?
So my YouTube channel is called Pope's Podcast. That is POPE Podcast. And I have a Twitter, which is Popeel Max. If you want to follow me on that, I do tweet a lot, especially on the game today. And that is it. I'm hoping to do a podcast sometime between Wednesday and Thursday next week. So you can catch me doing something there next week. And we talk about, it's not just Hurricanes football. It's every sport, MLB, basketball, especially with the NBA coming soon. So every sport. So especially with the news that's happening right now. So that's all I'll say out here. Also, North Fresh, would you be able to put a link in the description so they could subscribe to it?
Yeah, definitely. I will when I tweet it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's awesome being here, especially with all these Canes fans. Hope to talk to you guys about what's happening with Canes football later. Hopefully it'll be more positive than this. But
yeah, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we'll have a little bit of something to talk about better in the future here, guys. But as of right now, we're going to close off the post-game show, and we just want to thank you guys for joining us on Mark Rogers TV. This is the Miami Hurricanes post-game show. And once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. We're here every single week after games. My co-host Jordan will be back with us next week. So tune in next week, guys. We'll be running it good or bad, no matter what. And always, go Canes.